Hey, what's up, Mappers? It is that time of year. We've reached the end of the year and our final map review. Look, you're going to have a Google form today and an email, and then you're going to have some other things. I want to explain some things at the beginning of this Google form. So all the complications that you're going to encounter don't get confusing. Let me explain why. When we're teaching grade 1, 2, 3, 4, that means we have one class, math and reading. We're not going to do science in grades 1 to 4 in this review today, but we'll do math and reading. So let's take Miss Mary Chris in 3A. It's a little bit easier for her to answer the Google form because she has 3A for reading, 3A for math. But let's take Miss Hazel, for instance. One, she doesn't teach reading and she has not one class of math. She has 6A, 6GA, 6GB, 6BA, and 6BB. So she's going to answer, Hazel is going to answer it for all 4 of those classes, which is a little confusing because it's not as easy as it is for Mary Chris, who just has 3A. Let's see. So I hope that makes a little sense. The first time you see the grade level equivalency charts, I want you to think about, like, for like Hazel, let's start with 6A, okay? Let's start with 6A because then after you do 6A, then you'll do 6B and 6C, 6D, if you can kind of call it that way, okay? I think that makes sense, right? And also, because Hazel doesn't teach reading, when she gets to reading, the reading section, all the questions are mandatory, required. So the only thing she can do there is she can type in, I am not an English teacher. And then later on, she can write, I am not a science teacher, or just put NA so you can kind of satisfy the requirement of putting something in there because it is a required question. But then you can skip through those. So again, we have math, reading, and science all in one form. And we all know that not all of us are science teachers or reading teachers, math teachers, you get it? And that our primary in grades 1 to 4 are a little different than our subject-based teachers in 5 and above. So don't let the different subjects confuse you. Again, you know what to do. I'm not a blank teacher. Or just put an NA there. Now, let's kind of get to the form. 1, GLE, you're going to see that a lot, GLE. What does that mean? Grade level equivalency. What does GLE mean? Grade level equivalency. So when you see that written out, you're going to know that now what that means. So don't let that confuse you. The next, what we're really doing today, and I will share my screen, make this a little easier, I hope, is let's go here. Okay. First, you're going to get an email that has all these links in it. So obviously it's going to be grade 1, 2, 3. It's going to be all the way up to 9. So you're going to have a lot of links in it. And you're going to click on the link. Since we're at math here, let's click on the math one. And this is what I want you to see that you're going to see and what you're going to work with. Let's open it up in a Google Sheet. Boom. Okay. This is going to be a little different. So really what we're looking at today is from fall to spring, okay? Where students who are 2 or more years below grade level expectancy, where they were in the fall compared to how many students are 2 or more years below grade level expectancy in the spring, right? Again, where they were 2 or more years below grade level expectancy in the fall. These are the students that we have probably more concerns with. We understand that we have to connect with them more to bring them up to the top, right? So that's why we're going to look at students that are 2 or more years below fall to spring. So we're going to be writing sentences in that way. I've included sentence scaffolds so that you know how to write the sentences. You can just copy it. There's going to be something in parentheses. You're going to change what's in parentheses, okay? It's written in the questions. There's some long questions today, so make sure you kind of take the time to read them. And then we're going to look at the students that are at or above grade level where they started in the fall, how many started at or above grade level in the fall, compared to how many are at grade level or above in the spring. Again, where and what are we seeing in that shift? Where they started in the fall, where they ended in the spring. Again, we're going to be looking at students that are 2 or more years below, and we're going to be looking at the students that are at or above. I think that makes sense. Our department heads, you got something kind of entirely different. You're going to go through the whole form, and at the very end of the form, you're going to find your kind of one question to answer, because you're going to need to look at multiple grade levels and multiple classes to answer your question. So like I use Andreas, for example, he's going to kind of like give a quick overview of grade 6 and all the sections, grade 7s and all the sections, grade 8s and all the sections, grade 9s and all the sections, and just kind of make note of some places. Again, as department heads, I want you again to be looking at the students that you see that are 2 or more years below at the start and in the spring. Do you see shifts? Do you not see shifts? Do you see regression? And then again, the students that are at or above grade level in the fall compared to spring. So that's where our department heads going to be kind of looking at the big picture. Kind of looking over my notes to make sure that's the way it is. Let me show you just another one. Like Hazel, and like for Mary Chris, she's going to write it for male students and female students. But for Hazel, like 6GA only has female students. So I think that's going to be kind of obvious when you get to it, but don't let that confuse you. And let's just look here. So if you, and just to show you that your sections are at the bottom. Okay, so you see 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D. So when you open one of these, you're going to find your sections at the bottom. I think that's it, crew. Hey, if you have any questions or you do get confused, I'm in the building. You can WhatsApp me. You can give me a call. You can send me something on WhatsApp, a little voice message on WhatsApp, and I'll answer your question that way. So let's work together today. Let's not kind of let these complications that we're not a science math teacher or primary teacher or those things confuse us. We also have a complication in math because, like Mr. Jihad, we have classes that are broken up. So I'm going to include how we're going to address that in the email. First, let me get out of here so you can get to the questions below on this Google form. And so you can get this done and you can begin to reflect on what you do today, but also look forward not only to your summer, but to next year. So our goal is to look at what we've done this year, to make some reflections on what we've done, and to think forward about moving into next year. I'm out. I know that's even longer than we all wanted. So let's get to work. You got some sentences to write today and some reflections to do. Have fun, and I do appreciate your work always. You take care and have an awesome summer.